whistles, and horns, no more. Most everyone knows the old philosophical question: is your glass half empty or half full? The intent of the question is, of course, to point out that our attitudes accompany our perceptions. When I sat in my home office writing this piece, the windows were open and I could now and then hear train horns/whistles. They didn't bother me too much. I was born and grew up in a house right next to the railroad tracks on Perry Street. So, it is more than likely that the first loud noise I ever heard in this world was that of a train. But it occurred to me that very soon I would hear those whistles and horns in Vermilion, oh no more. Trains have had a long history in Vermilion. Would you believe that they've been running along the lakeshore through the town for nearly as many years as the town has been officially incorporated? It's true. The first steam engine rolled through the village on the Junction Railroad in 1853. The line would later become the LS and MS, Lakeshore and Michigan Southern, then the NYC, New York Central, and then CSX/Conrail/Norfolk Western. The nickel plate rails, those passing through the southern part of town, were laid through the village during the late 19th century. With the trains came prosperity, economic development, and jobs flowed in the wake of the rail lines across the nation. Before the advent of the horseless carriage, trains were the most efficient source of land transportation for people and the goods they produced, needed, or wanted. Many a town in the land envied the towns that had trains running through them, and some actually died because they refused to have them. But there was a trade-off. The noise was one thing. The most noticeable thing, then, however, was the smoke released from the coal-fired boilers of the engines as the trains passed through town. Sometime during the mid-1950s, the steam engines began to disappear and were gradually replaced by the diesel-electric locomotives that we know today. It was, to say the very least, an immeasurable technological, environmental, and social upgrade. Note, the social upgrade was in no small part when the ladies of the town no longer had to worry about having the items they had washed and hung out to dry becoming soiled by the soot from steam engines. Then, of course, there were the mishaps. The deaths. Vermilion has had its share: 3 doctors, Buell, Inglebury, and Jeffrey, as well as a significant number of others lost their lives on the rails. All tragedies. Such tragedies are in fact the very reason for the train whistles and horns. However, given the tone of these whistles, the frequency of trains passing through town, the number of grade crossings in proximity, and the time of day, night, of occurrence, nearby residents felt that the whistles have a detrimental effect on the quality of their lives. Ergo, the quad-grade crossing gates, the closure of the Decatur, Perry, and Washington Street crossings, and a quiet, whistle-free zone was established in Vermilion. But there is one more little thing. While growing up along the railroad, it was never the whistles, bells, nor even the smoke from the locomotives that was really bothersome. Those things came and went with the passing of each engine. It was the noise and motion of the trains themselves that was more significant. Just how many discussions were suspended whilst the dinner plates clinked on the table and the windows of the house rattled as a train swept by our home will never ever be known. Now, that was annoying. Well, it's a fact that the train whistles and horns have been, like the old steam locomotives, relegated to a place in our yesteryear. Whatever the case, one really must wonder about the real significance of the trade-off, especially for youngsters and other train watchers. Is the proverbial glass, as a consequence, half empty or half full? Only history and train buffs will tell.